Gift giving is hard, whether it's for a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, or any occasion. I've got 23 edible gift ideas for you to gift to anyone. Edible gifts are great because it's something that they'll definitely need and consume, and food is a way to anyone's heart, let's be honest. So I've got all of these recipes on my website, which will be in the description below. So don't worry about jotting them down or that the recipes aren't here in the video. These are just giving you some ideas, but if you want the recipes to any of these, as well as gift tags with a description of what it is and how to consume it, it's all in a downloadable PDF in the description below as well. So let's get started. Sourdough crackers. Sourdough crackers are something that is so easy to make, and oftentimes they're quite expensive when you buy them at the shops. You can have with cheese, you can eat with nut butters, really any way you like. I even dunk them in my coffee. They're delicious and super versatile as well. So if the person you're gifting it to might have an allergy to any of the things or might just not like any of the things that I suggested putting it on there, you can mix and change so it becomes a little bit sweeter, a little bit more savory, up to your liking or to you, the person you're gifting to. Like sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is something that I have recommended people making many times here in my channel and on my Instagram page. I simply cannot live without it. Every time I make it, it turns out a little bit different, and that's what's really fun about it. It's again something that's super easy to change up. So some people like it a little bit sweeter. Sometimes you can grate some apples, some carrots into it, or a little bit more savory. You can add some more spices like cumin, coriander seeds, anything like that. It's up to you. Granola. Granola is another one of those things that I love to have at home, to have as a snack, to have for breakfast, to have as dessert when I'm craving something a little bit sweeter but don't want to go all out, have a proper dessert. So it's just something that satisfies my cravings. And I love to make it myself because it's so easy. It's much more cost effective to make myself, and I know that there won't be any added sugars, whereas most of the store-bought granolas, for them to make profit, there's usually more oats than anything, coated in sugar and things that you don't really want to have when really you're having breakfast or you're trying to eat something healthy. So really fun thing as well that you can do is dry out your own apples or pears or even mangoes, anything you want. There's so many different ways that you can change up, but I like my granolas loaded with nuts, loaded with seeds. Sourdough starter. Sourdough starter is really cool because it's actually something that you can't really buy from anywhere. If somebody's interested in making sourdough, they'll either have to start a starter from scratch, which I've got the recipe down below as well. And I very much like to give credit where it's due. When I made my first sourdough starter, I followed Joshua Wiseman's video, so I've just linked you to his step-by-step starter guide. But my preferred way, which was the second time I made a sourdough starter, or not made, the starter I made following Joshua's video lasted me about 2 years until I went traveling. For just under a year, came back and didn't look too good. I think the person who I left it with didn't really take much care of it, so I just went to a local bakery and asked for some starter, and I just kept it going from there. And it's such an easier way. I could get started straight away. I didn't have to make it for a week before baking anything. The starter was aged for a lot longer. It had a much in-depth flavor. So if you are going to gift a sourdough starter and you don't have one, I do suggest getting it from a local bakery. Otherwise, if you do have one, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you any time to go to the bakery or anything like that, so that's awesome. And if you want to gift it as well with a baked loaf of bread, I reckon that's even nicer. Semolina pasta. Homemade pasta beats any store-bought pasta for sure. I think that is a non-negotiable. If you've ever had fresh pasta, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. There's two different types of handmade pastas. There's egg pasta and there's water and semolina pasta, which is usually used to dry out, whereas the fresh egg pasta you either cook it straight away or you can freeze it. Freezed pasta is much harder to gift, so making the semolina and water pasta is much better for drying out and gifting, and it's really fun activity for you to make with your kids if you have any kids, or even just to listen to a podcast or watch a movie while you're making it is also really fun. I loved making it, and there's a whole bunch of different shapes I can also link for people who can teach it. I usually just like making the butterfly shape. If you want to go all out, you can even substitute the water for some vegetable puree like spinach puree, pumpkin, or beetroot puree, so that way you can have some fun colored pasta and you'll definitely give an extra wow factor for whoever you're gifting it to. Herb pots is something really cool because if you saw my last video, I made a step-by-step on how to create a small herb garden, and herb pots are an awesome edible gift because it's something that'll last a really long time. It's something that they will care, and every time that they pick some herbs to use for their kitchen, they will think of you. So herb pots are an awesome gift. You can even paint the pots that you use if you're a bit more artistic, which I'm not. So I don't dare to do that, but it's again a really fun way to get people in touch with their gift. It's not just something that you use once and throw away, but something that will keep going and keep giving. It's a gift that will keep on giving. Condiments, sauces and preserves are all things that will all last a really long time, so this is our second category. Mustard is often a condiment that is store-bought, but there is really not an easier condiment to make than mustard, because all you need are the mustard seeds, water and some vinegar. You just soak them for a night, or if you want it a little bit more fermented, a little bit more in-depth of flavor, you can leave it for 3 to 5 days or even longer, and as it ferments, that flavor will develop, and once it gets to the point that you're happy with, you can just blend it up, add some more water if you want it a little bit more runnier, or if you want it a little bit more like a Dijon. You just pulse it until you get a little bit of a smooth consistency with some chunks still in there. And if you wanted it a little bit more yellower, you add some turmeric. If you want a little bit more flavor, you can add some garlic. But essentially, that's it. It's delicious, it's intense, it's full of only the good things, whereas store-bought mustard will usually come with some acidity regulator or some emulsifier and any of those things that most ultra-processed foods will have. Sun-dried tomatoes. They are delicious, they're expensive to buy, and again, something really, really easy that you can do in bulk. You can even make for yourself as well as for gifting. You don't have to buy the really nice plump tomatoes that you usually put in salads. So you can save some money that way. Get a nice high quality olive oil so that everything will be delicious and that olive oil will not go to waste. There's so many different things you can use that oil that the tomatoes will be submerged in. Sun-dried tomatoes, if you don't have a dehydrator, that's okay. You can simply just use your oven at a really low setting. It will take a little bit longer, but trust me, it's worth it. And all you have to do is slice some tomatoes, pop it in the oven or the dehydrator for a few hours, and then chuck it in a jar with some garlic, basil, or any other herbs you might like to season it with. Cover it all in olive oil and you're good to go. Pesto. There's nothing better than a good made pesto. Pesto is usually made with Parmesan cheese, but if your friend is vegan or lactose intolerant or anything like that, trust me, it'll still be delicious. If basil is not accessible to you wherever you are, if it's a little bit out of your budget, you can make it with any other herb. You can even make it with spinach. You can make it with carrot tops. There's so many versions of a good pesto, and as long as you get the basics down, something green, olive oil, salt, lemon, garlic, and some sort of nut, it'll turn out perfect, delicious, super versatile, and something that will last a while as well. Hot sauce. Hot sauce is something that I love. I love to add a little bit of spice to a lot of my food, and making it myself is so fun because I can buy chilies in bulk. I'll ferment it for a few days, usually 3 to 5 days is enough, and then I'll make that one batch into like 3 different types of hot sauces, which is really fun. So if you'd like, you can even make a little hot sauce tasting gift. So it can be a mango one, a pineapple one, a normal one, a green one, an extra spicy one, so you can add a few different types of chilies. They're so fun to make, super easy, and like I said, you can either bulk make one type of chili, or you can have fun with it and have a few different types and have a little chili taster mix bundle for whoever you're gifting it to. Another chili one is one that I had a lot when I went to Malaysia. I believe in Indonesia they will eat it as well, but I didn't go there, so don't trust me on that one. But it's a chili sauce that's called a sambal, and it's almost like a sweet chili, but it's not. It's very intense. They use a lot of the small little chilies, but if you want it just a little bit more flavorful instead of full-on spicy, you can add more of long chilies or only have the long chilies if you don't like spice at all. But what I really love about it is just the peanut with the anchovies. Just wow. There's really not much that will beat that in terms of flavorful intensity. You can add it to anything. You can literally just chuck that on rice and you're good to go. It's so good. Definitely something that if you have a friend who may complain that their food is a little bit bland all the time, that they never really know how to add flavor to things, if you make that and give it to them, I'm sure they will love you forever. But again, I can't believe this damn background noise is still going on, but that's okay. Next on the list is flavored butter. Flavored butter is something super good. You may have heard how restaurant food is only good because they have no mercy on how much butter they'll chuck on things, and To be fair, I reckon there's definitely a lot of truth to that. And not only is it to the amount of butter they'll add to things, but also sometimes they'll even use flavoured butter, which is something that you can definitely have at home. It's so easy to make. All you need is a chunk of butter and whatever you want to season that butter with. So when I made the hot sauce, I also kept some aside and blended some of that fermented chili with some butter, and then I had some chili butter. And with that, I love making it with scrambled eggs in the morning. It definitely adds a really delicious flavor to it and some versatility to my breakfast. I love making it with some seafood, and there's many different other butters you can make as well. A garlic and sage one will go really well with some pumpkin, with some ravioli, with some gnocchi. You can have just a regular go-to garlic bread butter. We'll have some parsley, oregano, and garlic, of course. Sometimes I'll even do roast garlic, so a little bit more caramelized flavor in there, with some cheese, Parmesan cheese as well. So good. And you can even have a sweet one, like a cinnamon and sugar one, or just a cinnamon, clove, nutmeg and cardamom one for some French toast, putting on pancake, using it on cakes in general for a little bit of a more spiced flavor. Some brioche maybe. You can use it for cookies and cake. Experiment with it. It's very unlikely that will go wrong, whatever you put in it, because it's butter. At the end of the day, whatever has butter will taste delicious. Tomato chutney. Tomato chutney and tomato relish are very similar in the fundamentals of what they're in. The only difference is that a relish is usually a little bit more jammy. There's usually some brown sugar in it to make it sticky. And I tend to avoid putting sugar in savory things, so as much as I love a good tomato relish, the tomato chutney is more likely what I will go and make. The only difference is that the tomato relish will last a lot longer without going off, whereas the tomato chutney you will have to consume a little bit faster. So think about the person you're gifting it to. If they're a little bit more health conscious, they wouldn't want to have the brown sugar in their savory food, then going for the chutney rather than the relish is probably a better idea, and probably just make a smaller portion so they get a taste but it won't go off so soon. Chimichurri. This is something new that I've added onto my repertoire of things. It's so versatile. Literally have been adding it to so many different things, in salads, in dip, on steak, on chicken, on fish, on popcorn, on everything. It's so good, so simple to make. You can definitely bulk make it because of the olive oil. As long as everything is submerged, it will not go off. You can even change it out by having some fresh garlic, or you can fry the garlic in advance, putting a little bit more heat to it by adding some more chilies in there, changing up the herb. The traditional will only have oregano and parsley, but again, do what you want, experiment, try things out, make it a little bit different every time. Think about the person you're going to give it to and make it according to what you think they will like. Nut butters. There is rarely a time where I don't have peanut butter or almond butter, or one of my favorites at the bulk food store I used to go to in Australia. They had an ABC butter, almond, Brazil nuts and cashew nuts mixed together, and that was just so good. So the thing is with nut butters, they're actually really simple to make. What I do is just chuck it in the oven to warm the nuts up a little bit. You can even roast them if you wanted a little bit of that roasted flavor, and blend them while they're still warm in the food processor until it becomes a smooth paste. And I'll chuck it in smoothies and porridge, on toast. You can even flavor it as well with some cinnamon or some cardamom. Give it a go. Definitely a money saver there too. Similarly, you can make your own homemade Nutella, or I'm probably going to butcher this word, but I believe it's pronounced Ganduja. It's essentially the roasted hazelnuts then blended with some melted chocolate, and that'll last you a long time. I've had mine for about a month now and it's still going strong. I've still got a half a jar left. Been very tempting, but it's been quite good. I kind of just hide it at the back of the cupboard, otherwise I'll eat it all in one day. The next few is for all of the chocolate lovers. The first date truffle I had was at a cafe in Byron Bay, and I was just like, it completely changed my world. I think it was the first time I had a mental date, and it was just like the combination of the sweetness caramel flavor from the dates with the almond butter, and then coated in that dark chocolate. It was just perfect. Dates are often even a bit too sweet for me, so it's really good because you have just one date with the almond butter and chocolate and you feel very satisfied. While you're making the date truffles, you're probably gonna end up with some leftover chocolate. So I just got some baking paper, I poured the leftover melted chocolate onto it, sprinkled some nuts and seeds on it. You can change it up, you can put cranberries, other dried fruit, you can add some toasted coconut, make it whatever you like. There's so many different options of how you can make this chocolate bar, and that way you've got 2-in-1, 2 different chocolate gifts, or you can even gift one and keep the other one for yourself. The last one on the sweet tooth list is hot chocolate sticks. When I was in Tasmania visiting my partner, we probably got a hot chocolate stick every second day. Almost super fun to have together as a couple just while having a movie or something like that. So seeing that I could make my own for a lot cheaper and just have in the cupboard or in the fridge in case it melts, especially if whoever you're gifting it to may have kids or anything like that, you can even chuck some mini marshmallows in the mix, and that way when they stir the hot chocolate stick in the milk, those mini marshmallows will start floating to the top and will be a nice surprise. You can also change the flavor by making it pumpkin spice or add some candy cane shavings to make it more holiday themed. You can add some chili powder, you can have some lavender essential oils, rose essential oils, some peanut butter. So many different flavors that you can have in a hot chocolate. Have some fun with it, play around, it'll be really good. So really, again, it's one gift, but you can have many different flavored sticks. That way it'll be a fun little surprise for whenever they have it. The last category is drinks. These are really fun. Again, naturally fermented drinks. Something like kombucha, but without the effort of having to go and find your own kombucha SCOBY. If you already have a kombucha SCOBY, then making the kombucha and gifting it is also an awesome gift. But since I don't have a SCOBY, then I just made a ginger bug, and I was able to make so many different flavored sodas. I made apple cider, I made ginger beer, and everyone who I've gifted it to so far has loved it and asked for more. Making your own chai syrup as well. If you don't like coffee, or if you want an alternative to coffee for the afternoon or anything like that, chai lattes are an awesome drink. Warm and cozy, full of different flavors. Making your own syrup is really easy. A lot of people actually add sugar to it to make it quite thick, but I just tend to have no sugar and sweeten it if I like with some honey on the spot, but just boiling those different spices, making it really intense in flavor, and then just diluting a little bit of that syrup into some milk. So if you have a friend who's a chai lover, I guarantee they will love this homemade chai syrup so they can make their own chai latte at home. Last but not least is a hamper with as little or as many of these edible gifts as you like. Mix and match from the different categories. It'll be really nice, it'll look adorable, and I'm sure whoever you're gifting it to will be super grateful for the effort that you put in to make everything, and they'll enjoy it with a lot of care and thought. On my Instagram, I've also got a little video how to make beautiful bows just using ribbon, so that you can also again save money, and it's one more thing that you can make yourself, add to it to make it even prettier without any packaging. And once again, the recipe for all of the things I mentioned right now are in the description below, as well as the printable little gift tags and the how to use, how to consume description in there as well. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember to click subscribe and hit the like button if you're going to give it a go. I'll see you in the next one. You're watching Food for Days.